Too.
Oh dear. Hey guys, it's good to see you on. Brad, why are you dressed up like that, bro? What's going on?
Bro, today is our Christmas in July party with our inner circle staff. So it kicks off in a couple of hours, but we're in the festive season and it's Christmas colours, so we're just rocking with it.
I was cacking. Dylan was messaging me before, like his outfit is so good. I was a bit rattled. I So guys, me being me, I organised. I was like, because I'm getting the boys' outfits, and then I just sent Brad tracksuit bottoms. Hey, I didn't send you the full. Oh, what's going on with my jacket?
It happens. Okay. It happens.
All right, so guys, today we've got a little bit different. Brad's been working so hard with the guys in the inner circle. How about my things are lost on their script, right? So there's just been a couple of questions that have popped up that I wanted to ask Brad. Obviously, being one of the very best fitness sales professionals in Australia, to give you guys a little bit of concept on why a script's important, can you memorize your script, and things like that. So, Brad, first of all, I just want to cover why do you think it's important for all sales professionals to have a script or a flow that they follow on sales calls?
Yeah, certainly. So I suppose the biggest thing in regards to having a sales script is it's so that you can obviously duplicate it and make sure that you're constantly hitting the same, I suppose, questions to get the same outcome. And when you're trying to obviously train staff and grow businesses, you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is duplicatable. And you can also review and coach from a sort of standard that you've set. So by having a script, you're going to make sure that everyone's following the same questions. And if they're getting a different outcome, what are they missing or what aren't they covering as well? You can go back and review that and then educate them and develop them from there.
Mate, I don't think I've ever asked you, has there been a time in your career when you were starting, I imagine, where you didn't follow a script and you winged it?
I don't follow a set script like right now. Like I know my script. I don't obviously have it in front of me all the time. But when I first started, I sort of didn't really know what I was doing in like the health and fitness space. And it was more like a questionnaire that I followed than a script.
Okay.
Like a PARQ document, because that's all you sort of get taught back in 2004 when I first started. There was no sales stuff out there. That was probably the only time I didn't. And then I sort of developed a bit of a script once I knew what worked.
Yep. Okay. And do you think, because obviously you do sales yourself and you coach hundreds of people every week to improve their sales, do you think having a script makes people close more consistently?
I definitely think having a script will help you close more consistently. And also with that, recording those sales and listening back to them will help you close even more consistently.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. I agree with everything, as always. Now, really, really big question, because you actually taught me this, which is really good. It was a life-changing moment for me, guys. Now, do you think with your script, right, and I know what your answer is going to be, you've closed sales over Zoom, like video, like this, yeah?
Yep.
And you've closed face-to-face sales in the club in your time, yeah?
Yep.
And your preferred method is phone sales, right? That you do a lot of those ones.
It is now, yes.
Okay. In those processes, and let's talk about a script, the questions you ask, are there any variations at all in between Zoom, face-to-face, and over-the-phone sales?
It's pretty much exactly the same script because I want to get the same outcome and I want to make sure I'm getting the same, obviously, pain points and pre-handle the same objections.
Yep. Yeah.
So the script is pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, I know a couple of people and who do on Zoom video where they share their screen and have slide decks and stuff. I've tried that before. I wasn't a big fan of it, hey, even though it is pretty popular. I prefer just to have a chat with the script. Have you ever done any slide deck stuff before?
I've never done any slide deck stuff, and that's because I'm a very casual kind of person. Like slide decks don't really excite me because I So I'm going to say this very carefully. I control the call of where I want the call to go and the outcome I want to get, but I let my questions go with where the conversation takes me.
Yep.
So if I have a slide deck, it's already very structured, and you always have to keep pulling back to the next thing in the slide deck, where
Yep.
it can feel for me very disjointed in the conversation.
Yep. Yep. No, I get it. I think finding like I know a couple people who sell via slide deck, which is cool. I think it's finding a sales system that works really well for the person. But definitely for fitness business owners, it's just like script, Zoom, phone call, that stuff. You don't really need slide decks for fitness stuff. No way.
Definitely. No.
Okay. I'm actually going to ask my third question second, which I know you answer. Can you memorize your script?
You can memorize your script. You definitely can over time. And I suppose the biggest thing is not rushing to get to that point.
Yep.
And some people have a word for word script and some people have dot points. Again, it's completely what works best for you. I quite often go back and look at my script, and there'll be things that I might want to word differently. So I'll then go back to using a script for that particular part, and it's word for word. I'm going to memorize the rest, but you definitely can memorize it over time.
And do you prefer like word for word scripts or dot points, key objections you need to hit?
It all depends, to be completely honest. Like when I first started, I used to try and follow word for word scripts, and because I hadn't written the scripts, they felt very disjointed. And you could tell I was reading off a page. So now I've rewritten my scripts and I've made them my own.
Yep.
I could literally read the script, or I could freestyle the script, and it would pretty much be word for word anyway.
Yeah. It's funny because I had a few scripts written for me, and forever grateful they're quite good, but they're never in your own words. So I'd have to rewrite it in little pieces of language and how I express things. And the scripts that are written, they're just I've seen some scripts like 12 pages long, 13 pages long, where it's like, if they say this, say this. And I always found, like, as I was learning them, I found it very confusing on the sale, where it was very robotic, where you're like, oh, if Brad says this, then I say this. So I definitely prefer the kind of like dot flow, not as much wording. Otherwise, it was just like literally documents and documents of stuff. It was like an essay. Like the scripts are pretty gnarly, some of the ones I've seen over the time.
Yeah, and this is where, like, especially if you're running face-to-face consultations, you can't be there scrolling up and down a page, doing a conversation. You're like, what are you doing, mate? Like, why are you distracted?
He said this, just let me go to page 5. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is where, like, it's very situational, where if you're on a phone call, you can have your script side by side on your screen and be reading through it very easy. Where if you're, face to face, you might just have dot points that you want to cover. And then I'm massive on taking notes. So I'll read the question, take some notes, and then I can obviously repeat back what they've said to me word for word.
Yep. Okay. Mate, and how with your scripting in sales, because I know we've had funny conversations of you closing sales when you're like out and just random places, which is always good to hear. But how do you keep your script? Like, because you've probably closed some sales at the gym. Now you've got your home base. You're probably driving around a little bit as well. How do you, what places do you have your script so it's there, easy to follow, and you can pick it up at any time?
I literally have it saved. It's just a Google Doc that I have on my computer. But obviously, I'm an iPhone user, so everything's connected. So I literally have it. I can literally open Google Doc on my phone and my script's there. Everyone these days has AirPods or headphones, so you can pull it up on your phone should you need to.
Yeah, and so it's just like a home screen button. You tap it, it's opened up.
Yeah. And away you go, straight into your script.
And mate, very simple tech savvy. I bet you everyone got a bit of value off that. So there's no reason, if you have your phone on you or you're near your computer, there is no reason you shouldn't have a script any stage.
Correct. If you want to be a professional at sales and be good at it, then you need to have the script with you. If that's where you're going to close sales. Now, if you're going to close sales always in the gym face to face, probably not as needed. But if you're going to open your calendar up and potentially be caught out and try and sell in a one call close, then you need
Yep.
that script. Now, if you don't want to do that and someone calls you and you don't want to sell them over the phone because you're out, then you can just triage them and book them in for a sales consultation. Obviously, you may or may not need a script for that. But if you want to do a full sales consultation and you're not confident yet, then that's where you want to have your script.
Okay, awesome. Mate, and you mentioned like you review your script and things like that. So I guess like you've got a script, it's working. How do you actually review it to improve it? What are you looking for within your script, or maybe a couple of objections or non-closed sales? How do you actually review it to improve it?
Yeah, so obviously I go through and look at what questions aren't hitting the mark for my audience that I'm
Yeah.
having to spend lots of time on to dig deep and actually get where I want to get to. So, some questions you may ask will give you really surface level answers. And sometimes when you're building relationships at the start of the call, you want to start off with surface level stuff, right? Before you get to the core of the onion. But
Yep.
sometimes you want to dig deep and get the hard hitting truth from them. So I'm constantly looking over my script and seeing, where am I spending a lot of time not getting where I want to get to with it? And then
Yep.
also, where am I missing the mark on things that I may get a lot of objections at the end of the call? And how can I refine my pre-handling in my script to make sure I cover that better?
Yep. Yep. So you're reviewing based on results pretty much. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. And both positive results and also negative results.
Yep.
Because a lot of
Yep.
people, I suppose, they spend a lot of time focusing on the negatives, and sometimes people just aren't a good fit for your program, and that's completely
Yep.
fine. But sometimes people that do sign up for your program are also not a good fit, just because they were eager to get started with something, you've closed them. So you want to look through those calls as well.
Okay, awesome. I love it. Mate, and probably last question, because we talk a lot about, I was watching your presentation on Tuesday to the guys, which was good, about like the questions to ask to find the person, like the lead's pain, right? So you can like really kind of make sure that you're uncovering the pain, why they want to lose the 5 kilos or the 10 kilos. What are a couple of key questions that you do to bring out the pain so you understand their situation better?
Yeah, certainly. So the I suppose top level questions you're going to answer, like the surface level stuff, is like what motivated you to book a call, what motivated you to come in, leave your details, etc. And they're going to say lose X amount of weight and things like that. And what you really want to find out is what is this stopping them from doing.
Yep.
So let's use like the 10 kilo example or the 5 kilo example. It's like, okay, the goal is to lose 5 kilos. So Jimmy, what is carrying this extra 5 kilos stopping you from doing it at the moment? And they will come back to you with like, oh, I don't go out as often. I'm not, not comfortable in my clothes. It's like, okay, so how is not like being comfortable in your clothes, how's that actually affecting your life?
Yep.
Like you're trying to get deep and it's like, oh, well, I have like no energy. Like all these other things will start coming up as well. And you want to just find out what is the real pain behind it all. And sometimes, it might start off with losing 5 kilos and not fitting in a dress. It may get
Yep.
down to, they don't want to have sex with the lights on because they're not confident.
Yep.
Or they can't go down the beach with their kids and take their shirt off if they're a bloke because they're scared they've got a big beer belly.
Yep.
And that's going to drive more action than losing 5 kilos.
Yeah, mate, makes total sense to me. And now, mate, we're having a chat. We talk so much. I think it was on Tuesday. There was a question I wanted to ask you then, but so when did you transfer over to pretty much all phone sales? Because would be a time, am I right, where you did face-to-face consults? When did that change over? It's a two-part question, Brad, by the way. When did you
100%.
change over?
So I changed over. We were opening. My role in the business in the body consultants changed. I stopped
Yep.
just looking after my club, started looking after operations for all of the clubs, and we were opening a new facility. So I was opening a new facility, doing face-to-face sales at their location because that's all we did. But then my facility that I purely owned, I wasn't doing sales there because I was in Mandurah, like half an hour away, 40 minutes away. And then our head office needed someone to do sales there as well. And I found I was literally driving, 650, 700 Ks a week to try and get to all these locations to do physical face-to-face sales. And like half my week was spent on the road. It was a complete waste of time. So like, hey, let's just base myself at head office and do phone sales. And literally just made the call and, was pretty successful at it from day one because we kept the same script. So that's where we've stuck ever since.
So I guess the biggest tipping point for you was the inconvenience of having to drive to locations for the face-to-face consults where it's just, you were just over it and then you made the change and you've never looked back. Yeah,
and at the time we were growing our facilities, so we were trying to run them as lean as possible. So we didn't have the luxury of having staff that could just step into that sales role because they were running sessions. So because we were running it so lean as we were growing, I was the guy. Again, my close rate was really high, so I was like, hey, let's use Brad's best asset and just turn him into a closer, and let's do it.
Amazing. I've never asked you that. Hey, I always wondered.
Yeah, and you also, like I'd drive, 40 minutes to Mandurah for 3 consults or 4 consults. If I closed them all, good money, a couple of grand. But two didn't show up, and I'm now there for $1,000. So I could have stayed on the phone and closed those same amount of sales and spent that time ringing other leads. Because as we know, if we pack up our desk and close our computer or do whatever we have to do for a sales consult to come in, to then open everything back up again and get in the mood to start dialing and booking leads, you only really get 10 minutes of work done before you're packing up again for your next one to come in. And they may not come in as well. So you've spent that hour is now 20 minutes of work because you've been packing up and getting set up for these consults that don't show all the time.
You're like waiting out the front for the consult to attend. Because it was interesting because when we were chatting about it, because we have a script in the inner circle. Brad's actually redoing all the scripts, which I'm super pumped about. But you looked over our triage script and you kind of laughed at me, I think in a friendly way. But we had this script where we'll chat to people for 7 to 12 minutes to get them booked in for a consult. Do you remember that combo, Brad?
Yeah.
Do you remember what you told me? It was like this. What did you say?
I was like, just close them on the call. You've done all the work.
And it really made me think because one of the things that I've learned is obviously we built a really incredible company I'm proud of, but it doesn't mean everything you did is right. It does, like, you know what I mean? You have to be willing to open and learn. And I was just really, really thinking, because one of the things that I say is like we had 5 sales reps, right, in our clubs, which was good, but we needed 5 because of the face-to-face consults. When in reality, you could have just had one manager who's able to close over the phone and get people started, and then your trainers could have been trainers. So, I'm living my journey, you're living yours, but it's definitely something, my friend, that I've been thinking about a lot of the way that we built Code 5. Was it actually the most efficient way? And I'm questioning it very much based on the learnings and the information that you have given me with our friendship together over the last 12 to 14 months.
Now, the luxury I do find of obviously having a sales team and all being in the same place is, and you and I laugh at this all the time, and Dan Henderson and Dylan, like the Wolf of Wall Street, get in there, pump up the room, everyone's on a massive high, sales are a transfer of energy and belief. And when you have a sales team, it's really easy to get in that, good mood. Everyone's on a win. Everyone's cranking it. The room's dialing. Everyone's happening. The consults are coming through. It's easy to get and stay on that really high level consistently, where if you've got people all over the place booking calls, they don't close 1 or 2 sales, they can get a bit down on themselves. So that's like the flip side of obviously being in a team. You can pick yourself up pretty quickly if you're around people that are closing sales and things like that as well. So
I must say, I think over the phone or face to face. But one of the things I will add is with I think it's 14 months since the big COVID lockdown last year. Having a fitness company with no one with the ability to close over the phone when that happened wasn't the best. Yeah, I'll give you that, because I owned Code then. I was like, Jesus. I wouldn't have minded Brad Bedford in my life back then. It was crazy.
Literally, for us, like when lockdown happened, obviously, like, I can't say nothing changed. Obviously, we weren't running sessions and stuff at our facility. But as for, like, in Perth, we were lucky enough we could work out of our garages and stuff still.
Yep.
I was still running organic marketing and signing people up over the phone to come and train with us out of my house.
Yep.
Like until the cops came because we had too many people at the front and stuff. But that's another story. But literally, we just kept closing sales over the phone. And obviously not as many, but we just kept working.
Just cruising. All right, my friend. Thank you so much. A jam-packed episode. I really liked it. I really, really appreciate your time. What are you up to on the weekend, man? Any plans with fam?
Mate, we've got a Christmas party this afternoon.
Yep.
Football tomorrow, and then on Sunday I'm going to pick up my cot for my little girl that's due in December. I'm going to start building out the nursery.
Yeah, I know.
So,
and then we got Christmas party, which I'm excited about. I'm just catching up with my cousin tonight. Go watch the footy. Jess is out and about. She's doing in COVID in New South Wales. You can have one friend who's single, who's your like COVID buddy or something. And you've got to go on like a New South Wales government. So she's her COVID buddy. So she's there. I'm going to duck down and take the puppies for a run and see my family. And then, and not too much after that, just chilling out. But mate, Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll chat to you in a couple of minutes. But guys, I hope everyone really, really enjoyed today. Brad, I learned an absolute ton, as I do every time I talk to you about sales, so I'm forever grateful. And then guys, just remember, we're actually giving away 28 days of free coaching in the Inner Circle. So there'll be a link below everywhere that you see this or above. You'll be able to find it, send us a message. And then if you are opting in from this podcast, please let us know that you were referred by Brad, which is an option in there. We'll be forever grateful. Thank you guys.
Thanks guys.